Hey everyone, this is Dragon Gamer 475 here, and today I'm going to show you guys how to set up Seraph as the ultimate tank. Basically being able to evade attacks, deal a shit ton of damage, and take basically zero damage. So we're going to start off with level 120 hard Seraph Seratani, just so you know that this shit is real. And so this guy does a metric fuck ton of damage, let's just put it that way. Is the very scientific term for this. And basically the only way he will kill you is if he breathes on you funny normally. However, let's just look at what happens when we get on low HP. 1 HP. He did 1 damage. Now this is Seraph, one of the worst classes for tanking in the entire game, supposedly, right? Well, it turns out that if you just build it up with a few different arts, you can actually make it completely invincible to normal damage. Now, this isn't quite as good as the infinite evasion flash fencer, partially due to, you know, stuff I just experienced. You know, Doom can still kill you, you can still get debuffed. So you basically have the same problem with Ouroboros. And your damage output isn't nearly as high, even with Elemental Genesis. Though I am sacrificing a little bit of possible damage from like a chain attack build in doing this. You can see this thing is just absolutely eating damage up. And even your self damage gets reduced a bit. Like, you're not taking 10% of your total HP of each hit. So yeah. This class it's still a Seraph. It's still going to function pretty well inside of chain attacks. But this tanking build is definitely made for out of chain, so that your characters can actually function, you know, with with the Protector's Pride and the Fraternal badges. And this is actually available. I've been able to set this up in Chapter 6 right after you get Seraph. So, let me just cut to the chase and tell you how this whole thing works. So, it starts off with the art setup. The level 10 art for Heavy Guard is called Solid Stance. It gives you 25% damage reduction, which is, you know, all in good on its own. It's kind of okay, but just dealing, you know, 3/4 of the damage you normally would take, not really cutting it for me. Well, that's where we're getting to skills. Beast Mode grants you Awakening whenever the damage taken exceeds 25% of your maximum HP. So what does Awakening do? I know it makes me more powerful, and it seems like my arts recharge faster. Well, it also has a third effect. It can basically reduce the incoming damage by another 25%, which stacks with Protector's, stacks with Solid Stance. Okay, now we're getting somewhere, but that's dealing 50% of the damage it normally would. That's still good, but you know, if it's dealing 10,000 damage, it's, you know, I'm not going to really survive like 2 of those. Which is why we have accessories, the plate belt. Deal 30% less damage, but take 20% less damage. Yeah, so this is yet another part of the equation. Gets you from 50% to 70% damage reduction. And the last little bit, Natural Selection, the master skill from Lone Exile, also at level 5 instead of level 15. So you don't even need to complete the quest, and you just get a 22% version instead of a 30% version. And if for some reason any one of these runs out, well, you have your trusty old War Medic with advanced cooldown, or really literally any single Agnes class, because advanced cooldown is just a very good art for building fusion. Building fusion levels and interlink levels through fusion. So when all that is combined, you can become completely immortal when you're at low HP. And you know how... So you reduce damage by 25% with that accessory and 30% with that one. Well, with your skills, whenever you're at 85% HP or less, you get a 100% boost in damage. So it goes right away. You're dealing almost the same amount. You get a buff for 25%, I believe 50% additive damage whenever Awakening is applied. Greatest Warrior gives you an automatic 35% just for having one opponent in battle. And Universal Annihilation gives you 150%. Every single one of those skills gives additive damage. So this is the least bad way to do this. So this can work on basically any other class. Any other Agnes class anyways. Like Lost Vanguard is better with it. Zephyr likes to have it quite a bit. And, you know, the reason why I want to do this with... So how to make these other ones work? Well, without Awakening, you're going to need to make it up some other way. The first way is to just, you know... use Deflector Field and get Awakening. Which, you know, it's available in Chapter 5. Like, it's one of the first Ascension quests you can do. So, it's not that hard to get. But let's just say you're lazy or you don't want to go through the honestly pretty arduous quest. It's a pretty long one. It's like 20 minutes. You gotta bless the rains down in Africa. Or Colony 9. Let's say you're impatient. You want to become immortal before that. Well, just stack up enough of these advanced cooldowns. Or use the Soul Hacker Art... it's around here somewhere. Yeah, Butterfly Dust. Butterfly Dust gives you defense up, which is actually doesn't affect your defense values. No, it affects your damage reduction values. So this lets you become immortal even faster. And it is, quite frankly, a little bit absurd just how good this is. And so yeah, now that you know you can turn basically any class immortal, have at it. And also, let's just say you don't want to do almost any of this. Well, it turns out there is a certain Ouroboros member that has a basically can give you 80% damage reduction all by his lonesome. Stack that up with recharge. You can see there you're doing almost 0. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's less cool because you kind of have to manually control lands for a little bit. And whenever you do that, your other party members just do not do that. And yeah. Well, anyways, so thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys have fun with your invincible Seraph build. See you guys later.